Dear Bernie Bros, okay, just between me and you, how are we going to come up with $30 trillion? How are we going to get 30 trillion? 30 trillion? Like it's supposed to say, it's 50 trillion, so where's that 20 extra trillion? So if we could get that 20 extra trillion and somehow, then we only need 10 trillion left, because the current system costs 50 trillion, right? They're saying that Bernie Care is going to be 30 trillion. We're going to find a diamond mine or a gold mine or silver mine or oil fields, coal. Maybe we should invest in Bitcoin or invest in Amero coin. Bit Amero. Get the bit Amero and back the bit Amero with 1 ounce of marijuana. And there you go. I just say the United States Central is using the dollar as the global standard currency of exchange. So I want a message to the Bernie supporters. Bernie Bros, Bernie sisters, burners, fellow burners. Stop being assholes. Stop being assholes. There's other progressives on the stage, and they have progressive ideas. To be so scared of a progressive idea that you feel that you got to, attack everybody. Well, that one idea isn't going to solve the whole world. No shit. Shitlery, right? Hillary, she sucked in every which way. Her policy sucked. Her personality sucked. Everything about her sucked. Not all these candidates are shitlery. They're not right-wing neoliberal. They're not psychopathic. They're not as bad as shitlery. Joe Biden is. That's your, you want your neoliberal? There's your shitlery 2.0. And Joe Biden, John Delaney, Tim Ryan, Hickenlooper. There's like 16 neoliberals, but there's probably about a handful. They're okay. Your Beto O'Rourke, he's decent. Jay Inslee, he's good. He'd be great for the EPA. Excuse me. So, shit. I just feel like these candidates aren't as bad as shitlery is, so if you're just going to try to get everybody to hate Elizabeth Warren, everybody hate Kamala Harris, everybody hate Tulsi Gabbard, everybody hate every other single fucking candidate, you're not going to get people like all these candidates. And so you to think that you're going to win them over with your fucking shittiness, I think sometimes you got to smash people, but I think you can be tactful and nuanced too. I think you should try tact and nuance first, and if that doesn't work, then, turn on, if they're shitty first, then you have to be shitty back, right? They gave you no choice. So I'm just sick of, Bernie's asshole supporters, and I'm sure some are good people. I'm voting for Bernie Sanders. I am a Bernie bro. And so what's pissing me off is that you're pissing me off, and you're like, I just want to be like, fuck you, you prick. Maybe I should vote for someone else. And then it's like, I'm voting for Bernie because it's for the good of the country. But Bernie Sanders is best friends with Elizabeth Warren. He can be friends with Elizabeth Warren. Nobody else can. So it's insane that those who support him would shit on, his friends, right? So essentially, I think you should ask yourself a question. Is this a progressive idea? If it is, support it. Kamala Harris has a horrible record for a lot of things. She's got a great record for a lot of things. Elizabeth Warren's got a great record. Cory Booker's baby bonds. And then the police reform package, Julian Castro. So Bernie Sanders doesn't have a monopoly on good ideas. If this is a good idea, then support it. If it's not a good idea, then don't. Bernie could take Andrew Yang's thunder by adopting universal basic income. He could take Cory Booker down by adopting baby bonds. He could take Julian Castro down a peg by adopting his police reform package. Elizabeth Warren's 2-cent wealth tax would give Bernie a shit ton of money for Bernie Care. It's what Nixon did to McGovern. McGovern was opposed to the Vietnam War, then Nixon turned against it, won 1972, became president, was reelected. So people were like, who'd get us out of Vietnam better? Would it be McGovern, who's been against the war the whole time, or Nixon, who's in power now, and now he's talking about getting out of Vietnam? So, the Bernie can be more Bernier. He can be more progressive. We need to stay on Bernie anyways, make sure, all the stuff that he's saying is up. We should be the virulent critics of Bernie Sanders when he messes up on, if there's something in his Medicare for All thing. We should make sure that he understands this and that he won't fuck it up, right? So we need to be Bernie's biggest critics. I'm voting for Bernie. I support Bernie. My vote in March, so March 2020. So I got 6 months. I'm going to vote for Bernie, I don't think that'll waver. I don't think that'll change. So 6 months out, when it looks, you compare and contrast, he shines above all the rest. So why people I feel like you're just an insecure piece of shit. Somebody said, hey, Elizabeth Warren has that health tax or that wealth tax. Elizabeth Warren has a wealth tax. What a dumb idea. No. UBI, what a dumb idea. Police reform, Julian Castro's a moron. Cory Booker and his baby bonds, what is he? He is crazy. So support progressive ideas. At the least, support progressive ideas. At the very least. I mean, my God, I could point out to a lot of evil people and some shit that they said that was right. So to sit there and say that, Elizabeth Warren, who's 50-50, you're not going to get people to hate these people. All you need them to do is just to vote for Bernie. You don't need to hate all the other ones. And unfortunately, it's American politics. You pick your horse and you shit on everybody else's, horse. But I just can't stand it. So if Bernie Sanders, if his politics is as savvy as Nixon's, he'll adopt the other progressive ideas, some version close to it, like green jobs. Jay Inslee's for green jobs. Not a Green New Deal, but green jobs. And that takes, take those number one idea from other candidates in order to deflate their campaign's main idea. Castro also would be great as Attorney General. Think about these other candidates. A lot of these, you see them, in the administration governing alongside of Bernie Sanders. So Tulsi Gabbard, she would do, a good job as the Department of War, right? Secretary of Defense, War. Jay Inslee as the EPA chief. Julian Castro would be a good Attorney General. Edward Snowden for the Universal Internet Department. Or put Snowden at the top of the NSA or CIA, or maybe Julian Assange or Chelsea Manning. I think Chelsea Manning would be great as Secretary of State. So think about these other candidates in Bernie's cabinet. It's insulting, but it's also complimentary, right? So if you say, hey, Tulsi, why don't you be Bernie's Secretary of Defense, then that might have planted the seed. Maybe Tulsi hadn't thought about it. Tulsi asked Bernie, can I be your Secretary of Defense? He says yes. Now, he's nullified her candidacy, but she's going to be part of Bernie's cabinet. So you're going to get all these, progressives working side by side with Bernie. You have Gillibrand, you have Cory Booker. All these candidates have co-sponsored Bernie Care. And so if Kamala Harris and Kirsten Gillibrand and Elizabeth Warren can get past their own faces and support, the opponent, Bernie Sanders, his Bernie Care, then, Bernie brothers and sisters and the burners need to get past their own faces. If you're going to shit on Kamala and Elizabeth Warren because they're the biggest progressives in the race that threaten Bernie Sanders, then you're just showing how insecure and scared you are. That doesn't look good for Bernie. You're insecure and scared, so somebody said something good about Elizabeth Warren, and you need to say how big of a piece of shit she is. And, when it comes to hating, I have, infinite love for Bernie Sanders, and these other candidates are just 50-50 for me. But it just essentially reminds me of when folks would insult Jill Stein. So everybody's voting for Hillary because, if you're smart, of course you're going to vote for a piece of shit, right-wing fascist, neoliberal dog shit candidate. And Jill Stein, I felt good, voting for Jill Stein. But people want to come at me and say, well, she's anti-vaxxer. Ha! Well, there it is. Argument over. She doesn't even believe in vaccines. Why? Because the fucking media reported it. There's a couple articles that, and the only thing that Jill Stein said, she had a healthy skepticism about vaccines, which is smart. And she's a doctor, so she's administered vaccines her entire life. So the anti-vaxxer bullshit. So it's just like people were trying to get me to hate Jill Stein. Oh, the anti-vaxxer, she doesn't even understand science. Oh, yeah, okay. So some bullshit propaganda. You believe Marianne Williamson is more of an anti-vaxxer than Jill Stein, and yet she's one of the darlings of the Democratic Party right now. Marianne Williamson said that AIDS is just evil manifesting in your body or some shit. So, Jill Stein denied it. She believes in healthy skepticism. She's a fucking doctor. She's also a green revolutionary. She's talking about a Green New Deal. They're all supporting her Green New Deal. Kamala Harris is a co-sponsor of the Green New Deal. Not Tulsi. Tulsi isn't a co-sponsor of the Green New Deal. But they're all talking about green this, green that, green jobs, whatever. So, Kamala Harris, I got problems with her, but she backs a Green New Deal. And she co-sponsored Bernie Care. So what? She's dog shit, so therefore I should vote for Bernie. I'm already voting for Bernie. So if you need to, what? You need to convince me to hate everybody that you hate? No, that's stupid. That's a dumb, that's not smart for Bernie. It's not a good tactic. It's not a good strategy. As soon as somebody says they love Bernie and they're voting for Bernie, just shut the fuck up. You don't need to disagree with this or that. Talk about good things about Bernie. But why can't you be nuanced? Kamala, she's got some bad prosecutorial record, but she's also wants to legalize marijuana in the war on drugs. She's for body cameras. She's got, some progressive things to her. She also co-sponsored the Green New Deal and Bernie Care. So, the fact that people want to go after Jill Stein, I liked her because she took on the military-industrial complex. This little tiny, white woman, this little white doctor is going to take on the entire military-industrial complex, and she's so meek and, well, the way we're going to do this is this. And then, a bunch of fair-weather liberals are kissing Shitlery's warmongering ass. So, yeah, Jill Stein could have lost her life. Meanwhile, Shitlery is going to extend the war efforts, get 27 wars, turn them into 54 wars. So Jill Stein risked her life to save America. Jill Stein is a fucking badass. She's right on the environment, on labor, on war and peace, on prisons, on Edward Snowden, every goddamn thing. She's brilliant, precious, revolutionary, super intelligent. So whatever bullshit somebody wants to say about her, it's like, oh, no, she's an anti-vaxxer. Oh, okay, so that's all you have to say. You're convinced of that, right? Because you want to suck Hillary's butthole, and while you're sucking Hillary's butthole, you're going to sit there and, shit on my candidate because maybe I'll hate my candidate so much I'll run over to yours. You can't tell me why Shitlery is good. So, I think those are the Shitlery assholes spreading their bullshit to try to get me to hate my own candidate, which I adored through and through. You're fucking anti-vaxxer horse shit. So if Shitlery wanted to vote for me, you wouldn't have insulted her. You would have said, she's got these good points, these good points. Did you ever think about this? Hillary's good on this point and good on that point. So policies are open for debate. We should talk about policies all day long. So that would have been the way to appeal to progressives, actually point to her progressive record. Just point to her incredible, grand, great progressive policies. But she didn't have any to give, so all they had was, Mitch McConnell attack ad. She's a right-wing neoliberal, so just shit on everybody, call them anti-woman, anti-vaxxer, whatever, anti-something, until eventually they're like, okay, just beat them down until they're, dust. Yeah. So when people would just tell me that Jill Stein was an anti-vaxxer, that just strengthened my resolve for my dedication and love for Jill Stein. They're so desperate that they're going to come up with a pitiful and pathetic attack and then just think anti-vaxxer, there it is. All done. Well, she was, want to institute Glass-Steagall. You even know what the fuck Glass-Steagall is, you prick? So, yeah. I mean, she's smart. She's a doctor. She's wonderful. She's incredible. So I would, I would want to listen to hear, whatever charges I would like to hear her response to it. The anti-vaxxer, I just didn't even buy into it, so I don't even know what her response really was, just except for a couple lines here and there, but shit. It's a fucking lie. She's a doctor. She's been giving folks vaccinations her entire life, so, they're just stretching something she might have said about having a healthy skepticism. Just, sometimes it's skeptical. Oh, there it is. She says vaccines cause autism. Meanwhile, there's actually Michelle Bachmann. She actually said that, and she was taken as a serious candidate by the Republicans. So, look where we're at. Everything that Jill Stein was talking about is everything the Democrats were talking about before. So if Shitlery supporters wanted to win me over, they could have been patient. They could have listened to me. They could have showed that they actually gave a shit about me. Just going to argue with me and treat me like shit till what? That convinced me to vote for your person. That's not inspiring to anybody. Just get in line and shut the fuck up. You shut the fuck up and you get out of line. They could have highlighted Shitlery's progressive planks to her platform. Even if it wasn't totally progressive, they could have found something, right? She started S-CHIP, so that's children's health care. And if they're more progressive than Donald, right, they could have made the argument, but they didn't try. So, I think we're headed in the right direction now. So just be more balanced, Bernie bros and sisters and burners. Be more nuanced. Hear people out. See where they're coming from. If their biggest fear is just, oh no, Bernie and his socialism, well, talk to him about it. So Bernie bros need to do exactly what the Shitlery supporters should have done. I love Jill Stein. You want me to vote for your girl? You gotta be patient. So Bernie Bros, you gotta be patient. You gotta listen to their argument. Get to the core of their argument. If they make contradictions, point the contradictions out and just say, hey, you need to resolve this. Which, is it the people or the government? Which one's worse? You have to make a choice. So if they're like saying the people are horrible, no, it's the government, no, it's the people. Well, make a decision because you keep on contradicting yourself. So and be patient, and then we want to encourage each other to be the best versions of ourselves that we want to be. That's the point of relationships. So just to be a dick to somebody, that's, South Park thinks that's all politics is. Just be dicks to each other until they agree with you. No, that is not what politics is. I think I want a conversation about the ideas. So when it comes to Julian Castro, if Bernie Sanders doesn't have Julian Castro's police reform, Julian Castro should adopt Bernie Care, and Bernie needs to adopt Julian Castro's, police reform bill. His police reform bill is just so comprehensive, it just, I salivate thinking about it, and it would work. All those things would work. It would put us on the right track, and we would actually start fixing our out-of-control police. And Bernie Sanders, I think he, essentially agrees with Julian Castro in spirit, but if he adopted, more of those planks, then he would just be that much more awesomer. He'd be that much more greater. So I want to have a conversation of ideas. Bernie's got, free health care, free child care, free, health care, child care, education, and federal jobs guarantee, and some other things, right? And in the war on drugs and in all these wars. So he's got, a whole bunch of things. So that's how you convince other people to vote for Bernie. He's got these ideas. This is how he's going to help you. VA, the Bernie Care actually doesn't do anything with the VA. So the VA, if you like the VA, you stick with the VA. The VA is still going to do their thing. The VA is the only thing that's exempted from Bernie Care. Bernie Care pretty much eats all the private and public health insurance in America and combines it into one. But the VA, for some reason, they get to maintain their health care system. So that's interesting. If like the soldier is like, oh, I got this good VA health care, and Bernie's going to take it away, and Bernie's for open borders and decriminalizing the border and for reparations and whatever fucking bullshit. He's just going to change everything. He's just so far, he's a socialist. He's going to be Stalinist, farm collectives and slavery. So yeah, Bernie Bros, take it fucking easy. Take it easy. Listen to people. Be a good hearer. People are going through some shit. So at the very least, what do you win if you win an argument? I mean, do you really think that once you beat them down with facts and information, they're going to be like, you know what? I'm so glad they shouldn't the error of my ways. Maybe. I mean, I think that's to be a smart, very humble person. But if they're smart and humble, then you probably wouldn't be so pissed off at them. And so, what am I saying here? I'm saying that it's better to be a good listener than it is to win a debate, to win an argument. So listen to each other. Be kinder to each other. If you want to debate, throw it in later on. But, ask them about how their health is, how their family is. And then later on, throw in, Bernie is clearly the best also. So he should just shine above everybody else on his own. But some people may need reminding. Yeah. So, okay. Stop being dicks, Bernie Bros. Peace.